some soft speaking since the last couple of my videos were whispered, so hopefully you enjoy. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the different fragrances in my collection and going to go over the notes that stand out to me. And I have notes written down just so I can remember what each fragrance's notes are. Hopefully the paper makes some nice crinkling sounds, but if I'm looking down a lot, it's because I'm looking at the notes. So I think I'm going to start with all the fragrances that I have from one brand, and the brand is Clean Reserve. So the first fragrance that I want to talk about is Lush Floor, and this is a floral fragrance. I don't really enjoy a lot of primarily floral fragrances unless it's a little bit more green, because a straight up floral often gives me headaches, but I find this one to be quite tolerable because it has a creamy aspect to it. But the notes that stand out to me from this fragrance are the top notes of bergamot, raspberry, and mandarin, the middle note of jasmine, and the base notes of vanilla and amber. So those are the notes that I think come through the most clearly with this fragrance. I really enjoy the bright, fruity notes that it has when you first spray it on, but it dries down into like a creamy jasmine. I really like the brand Clean Reserve. I prefer, I guess, a simpler fragrance, and I like that their fragrances are kind of centered around a one-note concept. So, the second fragrance that I have from Clean Reserve is called Skin. And I have to say that this is one of my favorite fragrances overall. And it's described as a floral woody musk, but I don't really get the floral notes from this. The notes that stand out to me from this fragrance are the base notes of musk, praline, salt, and white cedar. This is definitely like a musky praline scent to me, and you get the saltiness from the skin. I would say that it's so skin-like that it might even have like a cucumber note that I pick up on, although that wasn't listed. But this is a good everyday scent if you want something subtle and inoffensive. The last fragrance I have from Clean Reserve is Rain. This is like a spring rain kind of scent. I would say it definitely has like a wet, earthy smell. And this one was described as having notes of bergamot, white florals, and patchouli. I would say what I pick up most is the white florals and the patchouli. But it doesn't immediately make me think of white florals, it just makes me think of like a dewy morning. This is a really good mood kind of scent, like using it on a rainy day or just when you want to be reminded of nature, just the type of mood that a rainy day would put you in. I don't use this one as frequently, but I do like using it as a room spray randomly. It feels like it has more of room spray or like a linen spray kind of scent than something I would wear. But I do enjoy it nonetheless. And I like the tapping sounds on thicker glass. So, moving on from Clean Reserve fragrances, I have one other high-end fragrance, and this one is the Burberry Her Eau de Toilette. And the notes for this one are different than the regular Burberry Her that comes in the pink bottle. So, I would say that the pink Burberry Her has more of a berry-centric, I guess, fragrance, where this one is a fruity floral, and it has notes of pear, strawberry, and lily of the valley that I get the most. It has other notes, but those are just the ones that stand out to me. I would say that it's very pear forward when you first spray it, and then you can really smell the strawberry and lily of the valley. This is a very sweet and inoffensive fragrance. It's not cloyingly sweet, like a lot of vanillas are, where they might be a little too heavy. This has more of a natural fruity sweetness. I should have grown out my nails for this video. Also, I haven't been doing any liquid sounds because I personally don't enjoy them, but I could definitely incorporate some like water sounds or liquid triggers in another video if you are interested in that. But yeah, this definitely performs as a high-end fragrance, even though it's an eau de toilette and not an eau de parfum. It still has really good lasting power, and I would say that it projects quite nicely. brand Le Monde Gourmand. And this is a fairly affordable brand. I think you can find a lot of their fragrances at discount stores or on sale at Urban Outfitters. But this was the one that stood out to me the most. And this is a powdery vanilla fragrance. It has notes of vanilla, whipped cream, and caramel. I would say that this smells more to me like a marshmallow or like a bag of freshly opened marshmallows than it does creme brulee. I would say that once you spray it on the skin, it kind of loses that caramel note and smells more so like whipped cream or powdered sugar. This is a good, I think this is a good vanilla for people who like white florals, because the powderiness reminds me of a white floral. It's like the way that it projects off of the skin. It's very similar in that way. I don't know if they make this fragrance anymore since I got it at a discount store, and I think usually that means that it's been discontinued, but if you can find it, then I think it's definitely worth a try. So it was very inexpensive. So the next one I have is not a perfume, but it is a body spray. Sorry if that was too loud. But the next fragrance that I have is a body spray. And it is called Moon Milk. And this is a spicy lactonic vanilla. And it has notes of nutmeg, cinnamon, cardamom, and ginger, and base notes of milk, oat, and vanilla. And I would say that this fragrance is one of the only spicy fragrances that I can tolerate because of that lactonic quality. It definitely smells like a spicy latte, and I really like the spices, the notes of spices that are in this. It's just not something that I thought worked with my skin chemistry before I tried this, but now that I tried it, I'm interested in other more spice-forward scents. I know that the brand Lush has quite a few, and I would love to try their turmeric latte body spray. And I like that it's lactonic in an oat milk kind of way. You can definitely smell the oat milk note in it. It comes off different than just like a regular buttermilk note, I would say. The last fragrance that I have to talk about is the Cloud Intense by Ariana Grande. And this one was hard for me to describe, and based on what I was finding online, I didn't think that a lot of the notes matched up, but the ones that I find to stand out the most are the top notes of pear, the middle notes of praline, whipped cream, and vanilla orchid, and the base notes of cashmere and musk. So this fragrance on my skin is definitely like a nutty, woody vanilla. And I prefer this one to the original Cloud. I think it smells a little more sophisticated and has better lasting ability. It performs like a high-end fragrance. I'm not really drawn to celebrity perfumes most of the time. I think it's just kind of a cash grab, but I smelled this in store randomly one day, and it reminded me of a sweeter version of Skin by Clean Reserve. I really like fragrances with the praline note, and the praline does come off quite strongly in this fragrance, and it keeps that like clean, nutty kind of fragrance throughout the wear. That note doesn't fade. I don't really like the tapping noises that this one makes. But yeah, those were all of the fragrances that I had to talk about today. I hope that the sounds were relaxing. I know I didn't make too many tapping noises just because I have shorter nails, but I hope that this video was relaxing nonetheless. Let me know if I should do more soft speaking videos, or if you prefer whispering. I have to be in a specific mood for soft speaking, I would say. I generally do prefer whispering, but it's good to switch it up every once in a while.